It's January the 9th, 2019. This is the flat top roof extension at the back of my house, and this is what we're going to turn into our own little solar farm. These are the solar panels, well, half of them. We've been down to Southampton and bought them back in our motorhome, and we've just had delivered over here. These are called the tubs, and these are what the panels fit into and sit on the roof, and we're using these breeze blocks to ballast them down. These are the Renosol tubs. They're called Console Plus. I'm just doing a little session on, they come with all the fittings. There are 2 support rods that fit on the back of the solar panel, and they in turn screw onto the plastic moulding. I'm just making sure that I know how to assemble them, and whether I'm going to need to assemble them in situ, which I will, because they'll be just too heavy to handle if they were all assembled on the ground. So we should end up with 14 of something like this eventually. This is how it now looks. It's a windy day, so it's a good test for the amount of ballast. 5 panels to go, then connecting up and lining up with the sun. I lash up to get the panels onto the roof. Thanks to a strong sun, we hoiked them from this platform straight up. The rear of the panel has 2 aluminium bars that bolt onto the frame and then screw onto the plastic tubs. We used a bit of tape to hold the leads in place whilst we're lifting and carrying the panels. An additional washer was added to the support fixing to make sure that the bolt didn't pull through the oval hole on the frame. This is the Zanussi inverter, and it's a fairly substantial lump. It's going on a little purling up in my loft, and at the side of it we've got the DC isolator switch and the AC isolator switch below it. The roof space behind the solar panel array, and hopefully we're going to be able to get under the tiles and bring the DC cables through towards the inverter isolation switch. We did a lot of behind the scenes planning. Here is the drawing to work out how many panels would fit on the roof. Plenty of web searches helped to decide the best way of doing things. I had very little prior knowledge of PV systems, although very familiar with electrical wiring regulations. I also like to use project management, where each little job is listed and then picked off in the best order. We're back on the roof, and I've put in the first of the DC cables through. I've worked out where to remove the tiles. They're going under the first couple of rows, and then it goes through and into the loft there. So 3 more to go. This is the site I purchased from. You can see the address, and I will add contact details in the description if the owner consents. There were 2 places I came unstuck. One, the DC switch next to the inverter is just a little bit tricky, because taking a glance at the wiring diagram looks as if the top contact is connected to the bottom contact. But on closer examination, you'll see in this circuit diagram that everything is cross-connected inside the switch. So that created a little bit of a problem. And also, you need an installer code to program the inverter. Now, my inverter is made by Zanussi. I found that quite difficult to get out of Zanussi, but on looking on the internet, I noticed that the same unit is on the market from Solax, and the Solax installation code is all over the internet. I'm not at liberty to give it, but you will find it. But you will need the installer code to make sure you get all the settings right. Because the sun's low in the sky at the moment, At round about 3:30, it hides behind my neighbour's roof. And that is more or less the end of solar generation at this time of year. But as time goes by, the sun will get higher and the amount of electricity yielded will increase. We wanted an inverter with a Wi-Fi connection, and there's a handy little app that shows you what's happening on the solar panels, how much electricity is being created, and some nice little interesting graphs. Make good use of the electricity you're generating. You can use time switches. Heating water is a good option. We've got a combi boiler, so under the sink there is a little instant water heater that I bought for £20 off eBay. It heats the water up much quicker than the length of pipe that the hot water has to travel to the sink from the boiler. So every little bit helps on these occasions. So that's it. We're all up and running, and I've done this little video because in all my research I couldn't find anybody who was taking you from beginning to end as a total novice. So I hope you find it helpful.